Well, hello everybody, and welcome back to Make It Simple TV. I am one of the co-hosts, Heather Porter, and on this show, Andrew McCauley, my other co-host, and myself bring in our inner circle of experts from all over the world to share 3 simple tips that you can action straight away in your life or business. Of course, I am joined by Andrew McCauley. Hello, Andrew. Welcome back.
Hey Heather, thank you. I'm looking forward to the call again today. Always loving these calls, and it's going to be a fun conversation. This guy has done lots of interviews, so I'm looking forward to picking up a few tips as well.
We were just told he's done actually over 200 interviews. I love this because the tables are turned on him today as we're the interviewers of him. So Michael Krisa, aka that interview guy, has a unique style that demystifies video marketing and helps entrepreneurs and small businesses alike implement this powerful new strategy into their marketing mix. He is a licensed real estate broker, a syndicated columnist, and a freelance internet marketing consultant. As a sought-after speaker and trainer, he is best known for helping to utilize video and video marketing in a way that actually works, and get this, guys, makes you money. So welcome to the show, Michael.
Hey, thanks for having me here, Heather and Andrew. It's a pleasure to be here.
It's great to have you. So look, we love to start our show off to know a little bit more about you and your journey to becoming that interview guy and involved in video marketing. So how did you get there? Where did you come from?
Oh, Heather, it started a long, long time ago. I remember my parents cried bitterly when they packed me in that tiny little rocket ship from Krypton and blasted me off from my native home, and I landed here. But seriously, it's been such a weird journey. I've had so many different jobs, from being a postal guy, a bouncer, working in bars, a teacher. I think it's been a whole eclectic mix of things that kind of brought me to, I think it was the convergence of when the internet was just starting to take off, and we had the tools to be able to do simple things like podcasting. Remember, MP3s were all the rage. And I had a guy by the name of Mike Stewart, took me by the hand, made me buy all his stuff, the microphone, all the recording gear, and next thing I know, I've got the first real estate podcast in the American space. And from there, 200 some odd interviews later, I got into doing video, ended up buying a video hosting platform company that we've grown, that's Easy Web Video, and it's just been fun. The whole journey has just been a series of opportunities and being willing to go through that door, eyes closed or eyes open, to see what's on the other side.
How did you and Andrew come across each other? Because guys who are watching, sometimes the guests know Andrew more than myself, or vice versa. And this lovely guest of ours, Michael, has been brought to my attention by Andrew. So Andrew, how did you come across Michael?
I think we come across through a mutual friend, and we were looking at doing some video. We do a lot of video marketing, as you know, and somebody said you should check out Michael's video platform. He's I think he's just launching it, maybe back at the time. That would have been about 2 years ago where he just launched it. So a mutual friend connected us, and we had to play around with the platform, and that was how we got connected way back then. I think that's the right story, isn't it, Michael?
Well, I think the real story is we were in a bar fighting over the same girl, and I didn't have enough money for the next round and lost by default. I think that was the real story, Andrew.
I didn't want the real story. I just wanted the genuine story.
Oh, genuine. Okay, I'll mark that down for next time. I promise.
So tell us. You started off this podcast with in the real estate niche. Are you still doing that? Are you still doing that podcast?
Yeah, kind of off and on. What I did, I segued kicking and screaming into the video age. I'm going to say about 6 years ago. Again, the same guy, Mike Stewart, got me into video. And he says, look, you've got this face for radio, but we can do something with it and get you on video. And so I went out and I bought all the cameras and all the gear and ended up going to a workshop he was doing in Atlanta, Georgia. And there were people in that room. It was an editing, learn how to edit class. And on one end, you had people that didn't know what a mouse was. Basically they're feeding it cheese. To the other end, you had guys on their laptops that were repositioning satellites in space. So, I mean, we were just somewhere lost in the middle. And typical, and this is where many entrepreneurs fall down, I came home overwhelmed, didn't do anything, put it on the shelf and left it. And it wasn't until my wife and I were traveling in the Grand Canyon of all places, and I'm right on the edge of the Grand Canyon. I don't know if you've been there, but it's awe-inspiring. And I was getting ready to launch a product, and I looked at it and I said, Diane, if we had that video camera, I would be shooting video all day long. And she reaches into her backpack and she goes, this one? And from that point forward, Video Ham was born.
There you go. So podcast is all the rage right now. Everyone's talking about doing podcasts, and there's all these different people teaching you how to podcast and that sort of stuff these days, and they're making money, a lot of money from podcasting. Heather and I both do a podcast. We're due to hit show 100 this year as well. But going back, when you started your podcast and you were interviewing different people, how hard was it to sell the idea that they were going to go on a podcast? I mean, it was a fairly new concept too, back 6 years ago. What was the feeling like when people were saying, when you're asking people to go on your podcast?
Well, are you asking for the people that I was trying to interview, or from people that I'm trying to aggregate to listen?
No, for the people you're trying to interview for a start, like when you're saying to them, hey, we've got this platform, it's called podcasting, did you have to do a lot of education around telling them what it was in the first place?
No, it was actually fairly easy, and it's a tip that's probably commonplace right now. What I did within my industry, which is real estate, I wanted to identify who were the top hitters, so CEOs. And there was a bit of a methodology behind it, and I'll explain that in a minute. But I went after, I made a list of like the top 10. And then what I created was a web page, and I had their headshots on that page. Then I sent out an invite to each one of them saying, I'd love to add you to my collection of people that I've interviewed. And so when they come to look at the page and they see all their competitors there, it becomes a no-brainer because I have instant credibility because their pictures are there, and I also put the picture of that person that I want to interview. So that cut through the barrier immediately, because in my business within real estate, it's very ego-driven, and you can bet if a competitor's there, they want to be there too.
I love that. I love that. Before you jump in, H, I just want to say that it's such a great little technique and a strategy is that it doesn't matter whether you're a podcast with two people listening, whether you're a TV show, whether you're a radio show on Blog Talk Radio. I think the word you used was ego, and it's not just in real estate. I think it's across the board. Anybody that wants to become an expert in their field has some sort of ego attached to that. So if you can stroke that ego in any way you can, you'll find people jumping on it, and I think that's a great point you made. H, I know you wanted to say something as well.
Yeah, I just wanted to flip the tables. You were asking the question of what was it like to get people on the show, and Michael, I'd like to know, when you were initially getting started, how did you get people to listen to the show?
Well, interesting point. So the first person I went after was the founder of Remax, of all companies, and his name is David Liniger, the president. And this guy is, the quintessential frontiers guy. Like he could be out trapping bears and wearing a sheepskin coat and living in a log cabin. He's just like that kind of guy, bigger than life. And so I thought by getting him first, that would be the one that I wanted. So I pursued him for literally 3 weeks, and finally he returned the call. And I'm not going to say exactly the adjectives that he used at the beginning, but what do I have to do to get you off my back? And I just said, here's the format. We're going to get onto an 800 number because I didn't even have any recording stuff. We did this using an 800 call capture company. I said, my promise to you is you'll get to listen to it first. If you like it, we run it. If you don't, then we'll delete it and part as friends. So I was already working as a VP for business development for this online real estate publication. So when I did the interview, it was great. It was kind of like this very informal. Put it out there. He got to listen to it first, gave us the thumbs up. And here's the kicker. A week later, he emailed me back and he said, can I have your permission? I love this. Can I have your permission to send this out to all our Remax affiliates? Well, that's 200,000 realtors within Remax. And I said, well, absolutely, but under one condition. It has to be framed within the page that the audio is on, and I will give you a link. So they sent that out to the entire Remax Corporation, and within, I'd say, 2 weeks, we had a sudden influx of about 30,000 new subscribers to our show.
What a brilliant thing to do. Talk about leveraging your guest networks. Michael, what is one tool, app, or resource that you just simply cannot live without right now?
Oh my gosh. I'd have to say my iPad. And I'm a PC guy, right? So it really hurts when I'm up on stage and I have to say something nice about Apple. But an iPad is not an Apple. It's an iPad. So it's its own complete little universe to itself. But there are so many cool apps, and for somebody that does video, and especially when I'm working with small businesses and entrepreneurs, that iPad is literally a recording studio. I mean, you can edit, shoot, edit, upload all from one device. and the video quality is stunning, and with a couple little apps, like $2 apps, literally with an iPad you're doing what it would have cost you hundreds of thousands of dollars to do in the past.
Wow. I know, I love my little iPad as well. Now, this is the moment that everybody's waiting for. This is your 3 simple tips. So right now, I would love for you to share 3 simple tips that people who are listening to our show can start implementing or actioning straight away as soon as they are done with us.
Well, I guess 3 tips. So if I was going to relate it to video, because right now we're doing video right now. This is live TV in essence. The first thing I would say is get a camera. Any camera that you have, webcam, your cell phone, get over that barrier that video is too hard to do. The second thing is I would challenge everybody on the call to do this one video. And if they do, it will change their lives. Because if you look at us as entrepreneurs, and when I work with realtors, we're communicators. Our specialty is to get a message across. Are we selling something? Are we consulting? And literally, at the end of the day, we're all salespeople. We're selling an idea, a concept, or a product. So my challenge is get in front of that camera and get somebody that has a vested interest in your success. Is it a partner? Is it someone you work with? Is it a spouse, significant other? Whatever that person is, get them to be with you, and here's the challenge. Record a video of you doing a presentation to that person. Is it your sales pitch? Is it an interview? Is it a consultation? But do that like you're doing it in real life. Play that video back, and oh my gosh, you'll be shocked and amazed at the stuff that falls out of your mouth without even realizing it. And by analyzing what you say and how you do it, it will change the way you communicate with people forever.
I love it. I love it. I love it. And you know, just on that, when you do you teach that sort of stuff as well, or is that just something you've learned and discovered along the way?
What's the question, Andrew? Sorry.
Oh, so I say, do you teach that, like that information you just passed on, especially about taking the video of yourself and that sort of thing? Is that something you teach when you do presentations, or is that just something you've just discovered as you've been evolving with your video stuff?
It's a combination of both, Andrew, because when I first started doing podcasts, the first one I did, when I played the audio back, I thought, who is this knucklehead and who would listen to him? Because there's something about hearing our own voice for the first time. And as I started doing more and more of these interviews, and I'm doing my own editing, I would catch myself saying the colloquial Canadian expressions like you know what I mean? And we don't realize that we do these things. And so by catching those and editing them out, it made me stronger at what I do in terms of being a communicator. Now you do that on video. You know, what are you doing with your hands? Are your hands moving all the time? Are you rocking back and forth? When you start watching yourself on camera, you catch those things as well. And the other thing, you know, I discovered this from speaking and coaching, you know, being a follically challenged individual that's a hair donor, I have a tendency of being very intense with my expressions, and people take me too seriously or they're almost intimidated. And I was doing a workshop with another guy. He's about 6'2", big, bald, almost like a biker-looking guy. You've got the two of us on stage together. It looked like it was going to be an MMA smackdown. And when we watched it after the fact, we realized, you know what? We got to smile more. And just by being able to audit what we did and then add that smile factor, the way I interact with people just dramatically changed. More importantly, the response I was getting from my videos through the roof in terms of, and here's the key, video creates this aura of know, like, and trust. People were getting to know, like, and trust me even before they met me.
Michael, in the intro I read about you, you said that you teach people how to use video to make money in their business. If somebody wanted to start making money using video, what are the first steps that they would take?
I guess the first thing is identify what your business is. Or are you selling something, or you're a consultant? And the first thing I would do is I would get a yellow pad of paper and I would write down what are the 10 most common asked questions that I get within my business. So let's say, putting it in a real estate perspective, if I'm working with buyers, buyers have the same questions. You know, can I afford a home? How do I know how to afford a home? Where do I get a mortgage? I would write down those 10 common questions. And beside that, I would write the 10 questions that they should ask, but they don't know they should ask them because they don't know what they don't know. And now I've got 20 questions. And then what I would do is I would get my camera and I would do this. I would do an intro sandwich, which is I give my name, my URL, and my logo or my trademark. So it's, hey, it's Michael Krisa here, that interview guy from thatinterviewguy.com. And in this episode, we're going to talk about, here's that question and that answer. So now I've created a 20-part series that I would syndicate on the web. And now people, when they start watching those videos, are going to perceive me as the authority in that niche. And you want to make sure in every one of those videos that there's some kind of call to action. They're going to click on a link, they're going to download a report, they're going to come to my website, but that's the critical key, that there's a call to action. That's the easiest and fastest way to start getting leverage online using video.
Yeah, so I love that.
Oh, go ahead, Andrew.
So I love that formula. We've used that ourselves, that 10-10-4 formula ourselves, and it's certainly made an impact. You know, as soon as we start making videos in that exact style you spoke about, we start getting results all over the web. So it's a fabulous formula. So if you were listening just then, you should be paying attention and write that down.
You got to give credit where credit's due, Andrew. I got that from Mike Koenig's way ago. You know, the founder of Traffic Geyser, and that's been carved into flesh and tablets of my soul.
We got it from the same place.
What if somebody is like horrified of themselves, putting themselves in front of the video camera, but they really want to do these videos that you just suggested? What would you recommend to somebody that's just so scared of the video and thinks they're terrible?
Heather, it's easy. The first thing I would say is you're ugly. Get over it. That's the first thing I would say. We are not movie stars, right? We're not the Brad Pitts of the world. If a mug like this can be doing video, it's a matter of, have you ever been to a gym?
Yeah.
So the first time you walk in, there's all these machines. It looks like some medieval torture facility. But when you get in there and you go once, twice, 3 times, you start getting into that routine. You get into that rhythm. Next thing you know, you're dropping a few pounds. Things are getting a bit tighter. You're looking cooler. You're feeling great about yourself. The same is true with doing video. The first video you do will be a nightmare. The second one you do, well, it'll be a nightmare too, but gradually, the more you do these, it becomes second nature, and you'll start having fun. And that's what people on the other side of the camera see and feel. The fact that you're having fun transmits right across the globe through this little piece of glass that we call a camera.
That's great, Michael. Hey, I want to ask you a question, a little bit of a different question. What's one thing that most people wouldn't know about you?
That I can say legally, or that...
Well, whatever you think is safe to say on camera.
Well, we could expel on that story of you and me in that bar in San Francisco, but I'd rather let that one pass for now. I'd say most people don't realize that, I'm very shy by nature, and for me to do what I do, which is video, and being on stage in front of 300, 400, 500 people, inside, you know, it's like that picture of a duck, you know, floating ever so casually on the surface, but what you don't see is those flippers underneath kicking like mad. That's me. Yeah, I'm very shy, almost introverted by nature. So it's a real struggle to get up and do the things that I do.
Well, you're doing it pretty well, so you must be doing something right, so that's great. What's a quote or a mantra that you like to live by right now?
There's one that, it was in January this year. It was New Year's Day, as a matter of fact, and it was Steve Martin, of all people. And it was a quote of his. It said, "Be so good that you can't be ignored." And when I saw that, it just hit me. And it's not about showing up and being mediocre. It's not doing, you know, kind of like what the other guy does. It's being exceptional. It's about taking your talents, owning them, and honing that skill set to the best you can be. And that's what sums it up. If you are that good, people gravitate towards you because people want to be with successful people. They want to be surrounded by greatness. You have to be that person. And the only way you can do that is you have to have the confidence and start investing back into yourself, whatever it takes. Is it eating well, exercising, filling your head with knowledge, not garbage that you see on TV and reading the newspapers? Whatever craft that you're in, whatever skill set that it is, you need to be the very best that you can be at that. And so hence, be so good that they can't ignore you.
So speaking of greatness then, what do you ultimately want to be known for?
Being the guy that does what my wife tells me to do.
Oh, come on.
I'm just looking over my
That's
shoulder. You can't see the frying pan hanging over there, Heather.
good. Now, that's what she would want you to say, but what would you say?
You know, I have to say that when I was on stage, probably about 6 months ago, I had the pleasure of working with a guy by the name of Dr. Cliff Beard. He's become my business partner. He's a clinical psychologist and once upon a time owned 30 real estate offices. And when he was on stage doing his presentation, there's one thing he said, and it's not his quote, but you know, he paraphrased it. He said, I was looking at a tombstone, and on the tombstone it said from 1950 to 2010, and in between was a dash. That person's whole life story was summed up by that dash. So for me, what I want to be known for is not the dash, but everything I was able to accomplish, everything that I was able to share, and having an impact, a positive impact on the people that I met. So that when I'm remembered, it's not that dash, it's almost like an infinity sign in the middle, because everybody else has a different perspective or a memory or a story of the interaction that we've had.
Yeah, you never know just how you touch somebody, do you? I mean, you'll hear stories like way in the future of something that you did for somebody, and you don't even remember that moment. So, yeah, I think good little tips there. Over to you, Andrew.
Be careful how you touch them, because there's laws against that in some states.
Oh my! And you say you're introverted. I do find that hard to believe. Andrew, what were you going to say?
No, it's all good. You're good.
Okay, cool. So this is I like this question because I think as entrepreneurs, you know, we all do have really hard days, but we also have really high days as well. What's one major life or business lesson that you have learned to share with everybody?
Wow. When I was playing guitar, I played guitar and banjo way back, and I remember being on stage once playing, and you know, it was just like a coffee house thing. And I was using somebody else's guitar because it was a jam night. And as soon as I picked up the guitar, I remember I broke a string. And he changed the string, and I ended up breaking another one. And within the course of the set, I broke 4 strings on this guy's guitar. And he told me not to worry about it, because he said, you're at a transition in your life. And he said, this is what happened to him. Things will start happening because you're getting ready to make a quantum leap in a positive direction. So I think if there's anything, when we get thrown these challenges and setbacks, they're not really challenges and setbacks, because if it was easy, everybody could do it. So I think what those challenges are, it's like one step on a ladder. How much do you want that success? How much do you want to make whatever that goal is that you're trying to achieve? Because that one step, that challenge, is one more step closer to getting over that wall, which is that resistance. So my thought would be, or what I would like to share, is don't let those things get you down. It's just a challenge. The gods are saying, do you want this? How bad do you want it?
Very cool. Very cool. I'm going to ask you to pull out your crystal ball. Where do you see the future of video going right now? I mean, you've been involved with video for a fair while, and what do you see is the upcoming trend or the biggest movement in video that's going to happen over the next, say, 6 to 18 months?
Wow, that's such a tough question, Andrew, because it changes so quickly. When I look back, let's say 4 years, I started off with the flip video camera, and that was the game changer. Remember the little flip that had USB connection? We thought that was going to be around forever. What happened 6 months later? Cell phones started having video cameras, and it flips a dinosaur literally overnight. So within video, what I think is going to happen is it's going to become easier to do video, but it's going to become more difficult for your videos to be seen. And what I mean by that is it used to be, and it is, easy to produce content. You know, we'd watch people with their cats dancing and whatever, those cat videos. But now so many more people are getting into it that the benchmark for what would have been considered a good video is now up here somewhere. So you'll have to have things like a good microphone, a half-decent camera, and a camera could be an iPhone, but you'll have to have good audio quality. You'll have to be presenting some kind of content that people are willing to listen to, and you'll have to learn how to edit that and present it in a professional manner. So I think what you're going to see in video is the quantity is going to go exponentially through the roof, but the quality of those videos is going to be getting exponentially better over the next year.
Do you happen to know, sorry to cut you off, there's videos that people are putting out and they have that nice blurred background to them. Do you know the ones I'm talking about where it's really clear on their face and it's blurred in the background?
Oh, they're using a DSLR camera? Is that what you mean?
I'm wondering what they are using, and I was asked that question just yesterday by somebody that we work with. They were saying, how do you get that really beautiful effect where you're really crisp and then the background's kind of blurred out a little bit? Do you know what that camera is?
Sure. Any kind of, so it's called a DSLR camera, digital single reflex camera. So Canon has the Rebel series, Nikon, they're all out there. They're about $400 or $500 to start off with. And if you watch TV tonight, when you're watching a movie, pay attention to when there's the focus on the actor and in the background it's blurred like you're talking about. But it may not be blurred to the point that you're referring to, but that's all done with the lens and the exposure on that camera. It's called depth of field. So you can actually do it the other way around. You'll notice sometimes that the camera will be focused on something way in the distance. It could be a flower or trees blowing in the wind, and then it pans back into zoom, and now it's on Heather's smiling face because you're the center point of that shot. So that's called depth of field, and DSLR cameras. That's how they attain that.
But you don't get those with obviously a simple little smartphone video camera, do you?
Unfortunately not. There's effects that you can create to get that. There's apps, but it won't have that same profound effect. There'll be a bit of distortion, but nothing like a DSLR camera.
I just thought I'd ask because I know what you're saying about the future of video going more towards quality, and there's a lot of people out there that, you know, us as entrepreneurs look up to. I mean, a very well-known woman, for example, is Marie Forleo, and she has Marie TV, and she has definitely gone from sort of that flat look to more of that in-depth look that you're talking about. And I know a lot of people are sort of wandering around saying, oh, do I have to do that now? Do I have to lift my game to that level? And do you think that we do have to lift our game to that level?
I think it comes down to, number one, it's being comfortable with yourself and knowing you've got something to share. If you've got that and you're heartfelt about that message, it's going to come through. Like, you cannot hold back that sincerity and passion about what you believe in. So that being said, an iPhone, a 5S, is a remarkable video camera. So you can start doing video with a 5S. And in terms of the background, it could be a coffee shop. It could be something with just, you know, a nice casual ambience in the background. I wouldn't get too concerned with this depth of field stuff and all the other special effects because it's just noise. Focus on that message. What is it that you're passionate about? How do you want to help people with what you know? Get it out there.
I'm glad you said that because I completely agree with you. So as we start to wrap up, I'm going to leave it over to Andrew. Do you have anything you want to share?
Yeah, I just wanted to quickly get Michael just to give us a rundown of Easy Web Video. I know I haven't seen it for a little while now, so give us a rundown of what Easy Web Video is and how people could use it for their business.
Well, I guess when it comes to video, people host on YouTube seems to be the natural path, and the reason is YouTube's free. But with free comes great expense because at any moment they can shut down your account and all your videos are gone. So I'm a firm believer in the fact that your videos are your digital collateral. That's your money, man, and you want to have that in a vault somewhere safe. So we're big proponents on what's called self-hosting your video, and that's what Easy Web Video is all about. So we host videos on S3, but it's more than just hosting video. It's being able to take your video onto your computer, add things that make it interactive like clickable images, buy now buttons, being able to put a form right into the video to do lead capture. That's the kind of stuff that we do with our software. And then it renders in a format that'll play on all the devices, which is crucial because it's not just PC or on Macs anymore. It's 60% of the population is watching video on their iPads, on their smartphones. So you have to make sure that the video is encoded to do that. And now it's not up to you to know all that technical jargon. It's up to you to be able to press a button with your mouse and make it happen. So that's what we do on the software side. That's uploaded into your account, and then there's a whole other suite of tools there like web page templates, video email, the ability to put videos at the beginning, at the end of your main video, just a whole suite of tools up there, and we made it so affordable that anybody that's serious about video can afford our solution.
Awesome. There you go. Michael, I want to take this time to thank you for joining us on Make It Simple TV. Where can people find out more about you?
They can go to my blog, thatinterviewguy.com, and watch the kind of videos that I do. And if they want to reach out to me personally, email me, michael@easywebvideo.com.
Awesome.
Perfect. All right, guys. So yes, please come on over to makeitsimple.tv. Episode number 19 is Michael's, and we'll have the links to his different websites and some more information about him there. And as always, thank you so much for tuning in and hanging out with us wherever you are in the world. We look forward to being back with you next week with our next guest. And thanks again, Michael, for being on the show.
Thanks, Heather. Andrew, it was a pleasure. Thank you again.
Talk soon, everybody. Bye-bye.